What do you
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
We did how many rounds? We probably did at least 8 straight.
Yeah, but you in the bag for about 8 too?
Yeah.
Good. You're not in bad shape.
Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach are officially set to clash again on August 18th. This highly anticipated rematch carries even more weight, as Tank has openly stated he's returning with only one goal: victory. The stakes couldn't be higher, and this bout is about much more than pride or titles. What's truly igniting conversation across the boxing world is Davis's demeanor following their first meeting on March 1st. That fight concluded in a majority draw, a result that significantly disrupted the aura of invincibility that Tank had built around himself.
Was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say.
It was expected to be another routine beatdown, another opponent for the highlight reel. But Roach had other plans. He matched Davis's intensity, withstood his power, and revealed flaws in Tank's game that had previously been masked by a series of dominant knockouts. This isn't just speculation. Richardson Hitchens, a close friend and training partner of Davis, recently offered a candid take on Tank's mental state leading into the rematch. "I tell Tank that behind closed doors, if he doesn't lock in, things could go sideways for him," Hitchens said in a recent interview. But Tank's a true competitor. He's someone who fears losing, and I think that night was a wake-up call for him. Like, man, this can really go south at any moment.
His A game, it could go left for him.
I mean, yeah, I'll tell Tank that, you know, behind closed doors, if he don't focus up, it can go left for him. But Tank is a true competitor. Tank is a guy that he's scared to lose, so I think that's
a rare confession from someone within Davis's inner circle, a clear indication that the confident image Tank presents publicly may not fully reflect the reality behind closed doors. Hitchens also noted that Davis has been cutting out distractions, staying away from the internet, and dedicating himself fully in the gym. That's exactly the behavior you'd expect from a fighter who knows he narrowly avoided a major setback.
Now, he's trying to please the fans possibly and take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know, is it even worth it to please the fans who are going to love you 1 minute, hate you the next? They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him the next minute. Oh, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win, you know? Or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't just please the people.
But is that enough? Even Hitchens himself seems to have doubts. I think honestly those guys are both evenly matched. They have history with each other, they know each other, he said. So I don't think there's going to be that much of a difference in the rematch, but with Tank's power, anything can happen. That's a shaky endorsement, and it raises a critical question. Has Tank reached a point where his power alone is no longer enough to mask the flaws in his game?
That we're saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, like, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be the little something that gives Gervonta a little wake-up call to take him back to the mindset of maybe where he was.
If that wasn't enough to rattle Davis, Eddie Hearn's recent comments should do the trick. The Matchroom boxing chief suggested that Davis might actually be looking for an exit strategy from the Roach rematch altogether. In a recent interview, Hearn dropped a bombshell claiming that Davis could be fighting social media star Jake Paul in November instead of focusing on settling the score with Roach. He's fighting Jake Paul, isn't he? Hearn said.
Me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
I don't know whether he'll still fight Lamont Roach in a rematch. I know he's fighting Jake Paul in November, and then maybe Shakur Stevenson after that. For a fighter like Davis, this kind of talk is dangerous. It's one thing to chase a big payday, it's another to openly flirt with the kind of circus act that fighting Jake Paul represents. It suggests a lack of focus, a drift away from the pure competition that has defined his career up to this point, and it gives Roach every reason to believe that his chances in the rematch are better than ever.
The hardest punch I ever faced. No.
And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Okendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you not. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie. He hard.
Roach, for his part, has remained relatively quiet, letting the chaos swirl around his opponent. It's a smart move, a calculated approach that suggests he understands the mental game just as well as the physical. He's already proven he can stand toe-to-toe with Tank, absorb Davis's best shots, and keep pressing forward. That kind of resilience can mentally break an opponent, and if Davis is already second-guessing himself, Roach is in prime position to take full advantage.
That fight. A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career. So.
Even Ryan Garcia, a former Tank victim, has weighed in, cautiously backing Davis to pull off the win in the rematch. "I got Tank," Garcia told Ezzy. "I think he'll put on a different gear. I think he just thought it would be easier than it was and thought Roach would fold, and he didn't. Now we should expect a harder fight, and I think he wins the rematch." That's a decent vote of confidence, but it also sounds like a backhanded compliment.
1 foot out, you're going to get in the ring and you're going to have that moment where you know you got to step it up and it just won't come. But I think that's...
Garcia essentially admitted that Tank underestimated Roach the first time, a mistake that nearly cost him his undefeated record. And let's not forget, Garcia himself is coming off a setback, a knockout loss to Rolando "Raleigh" Romero, another Davis opponent. It's not exactly a ringing endorsement when your supporter is someone still recovering from his own brutal defeat. Then there's Romero, who was knocked out by Davis in the 6th round of their bout, but still picked Tank to win the rematch. "I take Tank because I think Tank will make the necessary adjustments," Romero said in a recent interview.
Something funny. We was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th. We was talking shit, right? But he like, "You ain't gonna win." I said, "Why not?" "What you talking about?" He like, "They ain't gonna give it to you." I said, "Oh, is that right?" So, you know, that's how boxing works.
That's a common theme among Tank supporters, the belief that he'll make the right adjustments to avoid another close call. But that assumes his problems are only tactical, that a few tweaks in training camp will fix everything. It ignores the mental side of the game, the creeping doubt that settles in when a fighter realizes he may not be as invincible as he once believed. For Davis, this rematch is about more than revenge. It's about proving he's still the most dangerous man in the lightweight division, that his power and aggression are enough to overcome even the toughest test. But if his own camp is already hinting at fear, and his promoter is publicly discussing safer, less threatening opponents, then maybe, just maybe, the myth of Gervonta Davis is starting to crack.
We was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th. We was talking shit, right? But he like, "You ain't gonna win." I said, "Why not?" "What you talking about?" He like, "They ain't gonna give it to you." I said, "Oh, is that right?" So, you know, that's how boxing works. It's sad to say, you know, that's how boxing works. I'm not like totally upset. I figured.
The truth is, Lamont Roach has a legitimate shot at shocking the world again in this rematch, and some of the sport's biggest names are already putting their faith in him. The reigning WBC World Lightweight Champion didn't hesitate when asked who he's backing for the second showdown. "I like Lamont in the rematch," he told KO Artist Sports. That's not just a casual opinion. Sparring is where fighters expose their true selves, and those behind-closed-doors sessions often reveal vulnerabilities that never surface under the bright lights. If this champion sees something in Roach, that alone should be enough to make Davis uneasy.
I had something on the table. So people who think I'm taking this fight for money, it wasn't the thing. Because I actually had an offer that was higher than the Tank fight.
Oh, for real?
Yes. To defend my belt. So, for all the people who think I was, oh, he doing it for a check. That's what I'm saying. I just wanted to shut people up.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
doing it for a check. We ain't doing it just for the check.
We ain't doing it just for the check. But
sure.
trust me, because don't forget, this is business.
It's prize fighting. Yeah.
It's prize fighting for a reason.
Absolutely.
But it's not just current champions backing Roach. Roy Jones Jr., one of the most cerebral fighters to ever lace up gloves, also sees potential for an upset. "I think he shocks the world again," Jones told pro boxing fans. "Jones is a man who understands adjustments better than almost anyone in the sport, a former champion in 4 weight classes who reinvented his style multiple times throughout his career. When he says Roach has a chance, it's worth paying attention. Still, even Jones hedged slightly, adding, but the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, a different personality, different motivation. That's a loaded statement, suggesting that Davis's biggest obstacle might be his own mindset. A fighter who needs a full motivational reset heading into a rematch is already halfway to defeat.
Not there to play around, he's trying to smoke you. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is a person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like this. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight. I don't know that. But Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand me? You got to understand that Roach came from basically the same ecosystem as Tank came from. Roach is a very formidable opponent. So I'm not going to talk about none of that until we get by Roach. Because what I'm telling you about the other...
Jones isn't the only legend raising concerns about Davis's mental game. 5-weight world champion Claressa Shields, known for her brutal honesty, told Fight Hub TV she sees Tank's emotions as a possible weakness. I think Lamont will be even better in the rematch, she said. Right now I think Roach wins the rematch, only because I think Tank needs to get his fear out of the way. Shields didn't stop there. She pointed to Davis's recent distractions outside. The ring as a major factor. Sometimes anger helps you in a fight. You don't want to completely lose it. You have to know how to use it. He's so frustrated with other parts of his life that it's hard for him to channel all of it inside the ring. So I think therapy would help. That's a bold take, one that suggests Davis's problems go far beyond technique and strategy.
Mom, when you heard the decision?
Nobody like a draw, you know, from a guy that get knockouts and things like that, but it's cool. I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have did more. I was lost in I lost track in the rounds.
Even Keyshawn Davis, one of the sport's rising stars, is already eyeing the winner. If he beats Tank, I would love to fight Lamont Roach next, Keyshawn told Fight Hype. If he beats Tank, there's only one fight to make in the lightweight division, me versus Lamont. That's a direct call-out, the kind that can stir real animosity in a division already packed with talent. But here's the thing, Keyshawn is talking as if a Roach victory is a real possibility, not just a long shot. That's a subtle, but significant shift in perception. Not long ago, the idea of Davis losing to Roach would have been dismissed as absurd. Now it's a legitimate conversation, and that alone is a win for Roach's camp.
In my opinion, I feel like me and Lamont Roach, stylistically, is the hottest fight in the weight division. Yeah. Lamont Roach stood right there with Gervonta, the hardest puncher in the division, right? Ooh. So put him up against me, I'm not going nowhere.
Y'all really gonna box, man.
We gonna fight. I feel like stylistically, that's one of the best matchups in the division for sure.
It's gonna be a lot of rolling in that fight.
You know, However, Keyshawn's challenge comes with its own set of complications. He's a big lightweight, the kind of fighter who rehydrates into a much heavier man overnight. That size advantage would make any potential bout with Roach a risky move for the smaller, more compact WBA champion. Keyshawn even acknowledged this, saying, "For real, if you beat Tank, let's fight. Tank, this if you win, let's fight. I don't care." But here's the unspoken truth. Roach would have to step into the ring against a man who could balloon up to junior middleweight proportions by fight night, turning what should be a battle of skill into a physical mismatch. That's a risk that could derail Roach's momentum just as he's starting to break into the mainstream.
Like, I just think Lamont was just better than what everybody was expecting him to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lamont can really fight. You know what I'm saying? And I've been saying that, but I also been saying that I thought Tank was gonna knock him out. You know what I'm saying? So he proved me wrong that, like I said, he better than what we made him out to be. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think like Tank got exposed.
Lamont Roach has recently made a commendable move by partnering with What's Up With Hate, a social media campaign aimed at promoting respect in boxing. In the campaign video, he said, "Everyone knows that boxing is a brutal sport, where competitiveness is key, but that doesn't mean we have to be enemies outside of the ring. It's a noble message, but let's be honest, this is boxing, not a charity gala. Fans don't just tune in for technical skill or mutual respect. They crave the bad blood, the animosity, the raw, unfiltered tension that makes every punch feel personal."
I just so happen to be a boxing fan that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed
Right.
for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we take it?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's gonna be soon. I'm hoping it's gonna be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
Roach's approach, while admirable, risks diluting the very element that keeps boxing alive: genuine rivalries. Sure, mutual respect sounds good in theory, but it's not what sells tickets or drives pay-per-view numbers. It's the grudges, the sharp words, and the personal stakes that elevate a fight from just another contest to an all-out war. Look at the classics: Ali versus Frazier, Tyson versus Holyfield. Those weren't just technical displays, they were wars of will, where each fighter believed the other threatened their legacy. Meanwhile, the Haney camp seems to understand this dynamic all too well.
Like the betting me that he gonna knock me out and stuff like that. That didn't go too well for him.
Did y'all bet?
Oh, we bet and we shook him.
You paid up?
He changed his number.
Yeah,
Again, there's a high level of mutual respect for each other. Like I said, we bumped into each other plenty of times. More than the average boxer would see another boxer outside of boxing. So it's cool. Like, he cool with me and I'm cool with him. If we were to see each other.
During an interview on the Cigar Talk podcast, Bill Haney, father and head trainer of undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney, delivered a pointed message to Roach. Lamont, get to work now. Don't do too much talking. Listen, have Pops come sit down and talk because that's what we do. Devin's going to work and I'm going to talk. It was a sharp, calculated dig, a public challenge to Roach's mindset and work ethic, essentially questioning whether he has the same grind and hunger as the younger Haney. It's a clear psychological tactic meant to rattle Roach and remind him that in the Haney camp, trash talk isn't a sideshow. It's a weapon, wielded with surgical precision. If Roach wants to win the mental battle, he may need to drop the high road and meet the Haneys in the trenches. Because while respect is admirable, it's not what puts fear in your opponent's eyes when the bell rings.